you will meet someone who is a program director at a private television station called TV79 at the Darien Town Hall. Today's guest will talk about these and many more. Humanities Mass Communication at Neyra Community College presents Person to Person, a show that introduces you to some of the county's most interesting people. And now, join your host, Camille.
Thank you for joining us for today's edition of Person to Person, the show that gives you an inside look at the lives of some very interesting people. The guest you're about to meet today is a program director for a television station in Darien called TV79, who is the backbone of the whole show. Now I would like you to meet our guest today, Jim Cameron.
Thanks, Camille.
So Jim, how did you become a program director?
Well, my professional background is in broadcasting and journalism. I came out of radio, worked Long Island, New York City, Hartford, Boston, and then I got to work at NBC News. So I come to the program director's job with a journalist's perspective on things. But my wife and I moved to Darien about 25 years ago, and we liked the town partly because of how small it was and how many people were engaged in volunteer activities. I mean, we have a volunteer EMS unit, we have volunteer fire departments, a lot of volunteers work in town government, and I discovered that there were decisions being made in town hall by the boards and commissions that were affecting my day-to-day life. The taxes I paid, the quality of the police protection we had, the parks, etc. And I became curious, because it was such a small town, about how to get involved with all that. So I got elected to the representative town meeting, which is the town's legislative body. We have 100 members that represent the interests of everybody in town. And along the way I met David Deaver, who he came out of a broadcasting background as well too, but more on the technology side. And he told me he'd been trying for a number of years to get a town TV station going. And I said, well, how can I help? He said, well, we've got some of the equipment, but we need somebody to use the equipment to do the programming. So that's what a program director does. Dave is the general manager, chief engineer, makes things work, and he gives me the tools to be able to schedule the staff, record the meetings, produce the meetings for our TV station on Cablevision, Channel 79, and decide pretty much what meetings to cover. So that's how I got involved with it, and we're now celebrating our 10th anniversary.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So did you ever think you were going to be a program director?
Well, I came out of radio. I was a news director. I was on-air talent as well too, but I'd never been in front of the camera. I got, as they say, the perfect face for radio. I got the pipes, but maybe not the face you'd want to see on your large screen TV. So even though I worked at NBC News, I was always on the radio side of things. So I never really envisioned me becoming the program director of a town TV station. But the skill set's very much the same. It's a matter of using the staff, using the tools and the equipment that you have, a limited budget, and making some subjective editorial decisions about what should be covered and how.
Interesting. What is it like being a program director?
It's a lot of work. It's a volunteer job for me, but I probably work the equivalent of 2 or 3 days a week. Scheduling the meetings, deciding who on the staff is going to cover which meetings, making sure that the equipment is working and that Dave has oiled the bearings and made the plugs work, etc. And then I have to go in and do all the post-production. So after a meeting is recorded, my job is to go in and do the edits. We don't do any internal edits in our program. Everything is recorded from gavel to gavel, from the meeting being called to order until the adjournment of the meeting. We don't have as much equipment as you have in this control room. We don't have an Avid. We don't have a chroma key. We use PowerPoint to do our lower thirds. So I create title slides for each of the programs. We dub them onto DVDs. We have a rack of DVD players. You'll see it in a moment on a video we shot in the booth. And we program those 6 players to keep playing shows 24 hours a day. So it's a lot of work, but I really enjoy doing it.
Okay. So now let's go into the video and check it out.
Yeah, let's see what's like in the booth.
So this is the control room for Darien TV79, and we operate with hard drive disc recorders to record meetings in a number of different rooms. These two machines record what's happening in our main meeting room, which is room 206. And let me just turn this room that we use are remotely controlled. So this is, for example, camera 1, which is in our main meeting room. And there's the dais. This is the interface which controls the DVD switcher at the top. So we have 6 meetings that are playing over and over again when we're not doing a live meeting. A Vimeo feed, which I will show you. Vimeo is like YouTube. It's a place where you can upload videos. We happen to like, our mandate as the government TV channel for the town of Darien is to cover all government meetings in town. And that means we may cover 6, 7, or 8 meetings a week. Darien TV79, the town government channel.
So, can you tell me a little bit about the process of where TV79 started and where it is now?
Well, we're lucky to live in Cablevision territory. You may not feel that way when you pay your bill every month. But Cablevision, unlike a lot of cable operators, believes in local town programming. So each of the 10 towns in the Cablevision area, the Bridgeport area, Norwalk, down to Greenwich, each has a town-specific Channel 79, which covers town government, and Channel 78, which is educational. So our educational station is run out of Darien High School. We run the government station out of Town Hall, Channel 79. Each of the towns has its own equivalent of that as well, too. Ironically, Stamford does not do anything with its government station, and Norwalk doesn't do a whole lot. You'd think the 2 biggest towns would have the most. But Greenwich, Westport, Darien, we do a lot of meetings. So, you know, we probably, as I said in that clip, can cover anywhere between 6 and 8 meetings a week. Some of them live, depending on how important they are. We very often have 2 or 3 meetings the same night at the same time. So obviously only one of them can be aired live, and that's an editorial decision I have to make based on looking at the agenda and understanding the issues that are going on in town. But the others we tape and we put on our Vimeo channel. So we have, Vimeo is like YouTube, so you can look at all the meetings that we've covered on demand. You can jump around through them. You don't have to watch all the way through the meeting. We put a link to the agenda, so if you want to look at the agenda of that meeting and say, you know, the item I'm interested in looks like it's coming up about 2/3 of the way through, you can jump to 2/3 of the way through the meeting. And some of these meetings run, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours long, so we're not expecting people to sit there and watch them all the way through, minute by minute.
Okay. So, how do you guys keep track of who's watching and how many people are watching the show?
Yeah, there are no Nielsen ratings for town government stations, but I have 2 metrics that I can use that help me understand how many people are watching. One, obviously on Vimeo, I get statistics. I can know day by day exactly how many people have looked at each of the meetings that are up on our Vimeo channel. I can tell where they were when they were looking at it. So we have a lot of people that go south in the winter and they live in Florida or Arizona. They're still watching. I can tell that they've been looking from their summer home, their winter homes, looking at those meetings. The best guide, I think, is the program guide that we put out. Every week I put out a program guide by email, and that's an opt-in subscription. And we have about 850 families that request to get that program guide every week. So in a town of 20,000, 850 probably extrapolates to at least several thousand regular viewers. We get phone calls. I was in the booth one night early on doing a meeting of the Board of Selectmen, and somebody came and knocked on the door and said, "Is this Channel 79?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I was watching at home and I got so damn mad I wanted to come down here."
Oh, wow.
So he stormed into the meeting and spoke during the public comment session. A lot of people, will stop me on the train or at the store and say, thanks for the coverage. We're also very lucky to have a first select woman, Jamie Stevenson, who is the, in effect, boss of the town. She really believes in everything that we're doing.
Oh, wow.
She actually got us more funding this past year to almost double the number of meetings that we were able to cover.
Oh, wow.
So it's great to have somebody in charge of town government who really believes in open, transparent government.
Oh, wow, that's very interesting, and it seems like as time goes by, your numbers are increasing, and even like you said, in the fundings, you guys are getting more support. Now, I would like to ask, moving forward, how would you like to improve on TV 79?
Well, let me take the technical side first. We need more and better equipment. As my partner, Dave Deaver, who comes from the technical side, says, video is easy, audio is hard. So we have enough cameras to be able to capture a picture of somebody at a meeting who's talking, but it's sometimes hard to get their voice heard on the microphones that we have. So we need more microphones to be able to let people hear what people are saying, not only see them saying it as well too. On the programming side, I'd like to do more community matters material. Our mandate is not only to cover what goes on in town government, but also in the community at large. So we do the obvious things like the Memorial Day Parade and the 4th of July Parade, speeches and presentations. If there's a state or federal official that's coming to town, we want to be able to, record their speech to whatever community group they may be talking to. I want to do more of that as well too, because the idea is to reflect the whole community and its engagement, not just what's happening with town government itself.
Okay. So you mentioned a little bit about you guys covering town hall stuff and things government-based, and you went a little bit too into you wanted to cover more community things.
Right.
Is there anything else that you're interested in covering that maybe you guys aren't covering now that you may think of doing in the future?
Well, given an unlimited budget and all the equipment in the world, yeah, we could probably be covering more things. We work with an advisory board. When Dave and I were given charge of the station itself, the Board of Selectmen quite wisely wanted to have a board to advise us and keep us honest and watch over what we're doing. Actually the chairman of that board has some very good ideas about taking our programming and not only putting it on Cablevision and on Vimeo, but streaming it live on Facebook. Maybe developing a Roku channel for people who have cut the cord and may not be Cablevision subscribers. We already stream on the internet. So it used to be you could only watch us if you were a Cablevision subscriber in Darien. Now you can watch us on Vimeo on demand. You can watch us on the internet anywhere in the world. And we get stats on that too. I know how many people might be watching a particular meeting as well there too. So I think the idea is to take the programming to the platforms where people are spending their time, make it easy for them to see that programming, not shove it down their throat. They're not going to watch if they don't care.
Yeah.
But the tree warden. How many towns cover what the tree warden does? We do, because trees are important, and if they could cut down a tree in his neighborhood, maybe they could cut down a tree in my neighborhood. So I want to know what that whole process is. But I think we're covering the bulk of the meetings that we'd like to cover, and we're getting the feedback from viewers that convince me that people are engaged, they're watching us.
Okay. So, like you mentioned, a lot of the things you guys are producing is going on television. And for the people who may not be watching it through the TV, how do they find out about Vimeo and all these other ways of watching the content?
Well, the viewers of this program are obviously Cablevision subscribers. They're watching Channel 78, and your program airs on that channel. So if they live in town, they live in Darien, they just go up to Channel 79, they'll find our programming 24 hours a day. If they live outside of Darien, you can go to the town website, darienct.gov/TV79, and you'll be taken to our page where you'll find a link to our live internet stream, a link to our Vimeo page where you can look at all the past 3 years worth of programming on demand. And there's also information there about how we operate. We have a frequently asked questions file there that explains everything we do, how we do it, how we get our funding, where our staffing comes from. I believe in being as transparent and open in the operation of this station as I believe the town should be in all of its machinations, boards, commissions, advisory panels, etc. So I invite your viewers, if they want to see more about what we're talking about, just go to that website.
Okay. So one last question. You are planning to, at some point, expand what you guys do and what you guys offer to the community. How do you want to go about doing that? And is there a specific thing that you could maybe ask the government or the community to support you to make it happen?
We are blessed to live in a very affluent town. It's the town of Darien, like many towns, is pretty tight with its budgeting process. But the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance believe in what we're doing. So they've given us more than enough funding to do most of the things that we want to do. Now it's really a matter of personnel. We need camera operators. We're always looking to hire more camera operators. If anybody's out there watching who wants to be a camera operator, come to the website. You'll find information there as well too. So we'd like more staff. We have most of the equipment that we need, and maybe we just need more hours in the day to be able to carry all of this. But it's there, and people are watching it, and we want to make sure people know that it's there. So we're doing more with social media to help promote it as well too. We have a Twitter page, we have a Facebook page, and we promote actively everything that's going to be on the air tonight live, and links to meetings that have just aired as well too.
Okay. Today we got the chance to meet someone who shared with us the life of being a program director and the wonders of TV79 has to offer. We'd like to thank our guest today, Jim.
Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed today's edition of Person to Person. Thank you and have a good day. Okay, and
All right.